Saturday. Do what you want on Saturday. Watch cartoons, ride your bike, eat whatever the heck you like. Oh, yeah. We live for Saturday. Hey there, friends and foes. This is Back in the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth. So jump in your PJs, grab a big bowl of cereal, join us in the virtual rec room to celebrate the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while sharing what we love in adulthood today: comic books, cartoons, kaiju. And this morning, we are going to be talking about the convoluted battle between the Ghostbusters versus the Ghostbusters. The 1986 animated series there were two of them. We're going to be talking about that. And we are called Back in the Cereal Box because when I was a kid, Saturday mornings meant big bowls of cereal, sitting down to watch TV, cartoons, reading comic books, watching Godzilla movies, and we didn't have iPhones or tablets at the table. We were reading the Back of the Cereal Box, and this morning I've already finished it. Maple brown sugar Chex. It's become one of my new favorites. So to help me and to help us talk about the Ghostbusters versus the Ghostbusters, please welcome in your wife's favorite redhead, an amazing cosplayer, artist, and fan of all things retro geek, the one, the only, Aubrey Cavett.
Good morning, cereal boxers. How is everyone?
Aubrey, you are fresh off of MTAC, Middle Tennessee Anime Convention. How was it?
Oh, it was a ride from beginning to end. I went there Thursday, decorated the hotel room really fabulously, put up the digital prints, including yours from back in the day, Johnny. Um, did spread that around again when I had some guests coming in the room, which we did have Friday and Saturday. Managed to pop into the ball, spinning around in my dress as Pamela Isley. Did some transformation cosplay from beginning to end, ending with the finished product. Hanging out with a killing Joker, the killing joke Joker from. So we were both on the hunt for a Harley. Managed to find one of them, and we got a good picture with some of the DC and Marvel shoot that was out there. So it was
That's
a good
fantastic.
time. It was a good time.
Look, if you've not seen her pictures or video on Instagram, Aubrey, like, she goes a little bit over the top on her cosplay. She doesn't just produce great cosplay. She takes like 900 cosplays and she changes like every 5 minutes. It's unbelievable.
For you
But
hardcore cosplayers out there, you understand what we're going through, and I feel you. You feel me. You know it. How was
well,
everybody this morning, by the way?
yes, well, we have some comments, but we have to ask, and I'm going to ask you, Aubrey, what's in the bowl? Why is it not
Okay.
coming up? There he goes. What's in the bowl?
What's in the bowl?
And by the way, if I sound a little bit scratchy this morning, it's because I am. It's sinus infection year. It's allergy time this year, and it's killing me. I was up all night coughing and getting up. Anyway. I'm struggling, y'all, but we're gonna get through this. So, Aubrey, what's in the bowl?
Okay, so I didn't even put my milk in yet. That's just how much allergy season is kicking my butt. People call it con crud after the convention. Guys, I have a solution for that. As con season continues, we've got KaiCon coming up here in Tennessee and a bunch of others. So if you're listening and you're a con goer, vitamin B12, take it with you to the convention, please, for your own safety and your health. It'll fight off that con crud. And I've got Booberry because we're talking scared stuff today because we're the ghosts. So they never caught this guy. I'm just saying, Mr. Booberry, it's not my absolute favorite, but I was kind of scared because I had no new cereal.
Well, you know what? So
Unintended.
that is my favorite of the monster cereals.
What? I
Yeah,
don't really.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to pour one-handed here. This is
Uh-oh.
I was up at 5 a.m. and barely
We
making it.
this okay, this could be good TV right here.
Don't, Johnny, don't make
One-handed. Will she
don't
succeed?
make me laugh with my bangs this way. It's so
Or
distracting.
will she just pour it all over the floor?
Look, I poured it in the bowl.
That
I
was
never do that.
fantastic.
I only do
That
like
was
handfuls.
for those of you who are just listening. Aubrey pours the milk in the bowl first, then she pours the cereal in, and she did it flawlessly, one-handed. It's outstanding, and she's now going to go in for a big bowl, a big spoonful of blueberry, and there she goes. Let's not make her laugh while she's got food in her mouth and cause her to choke and
Johnny.
oh, wait, what's going on here? Okay. So while she's enjoying that, I have to remind everyone that we are brought to you by our Cereal Box Super Friends, Eli Cash, Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, Sharice Collins, Dave
Thank you.
Mattingly, Valerie Davidson, Jeremy Bell, Angelina Vaquera Link, Day One Comics, George Soroy, Larry Amiet, Elliot Latham, Robert Alsop, Clyde Hall, and Chris Vaglio. And you too can support the show at patreon.com/serialboxpodcast. You get all kinds of cool exclusives like access to our Discord server. And we are also brought to you by my book series, Tales of the Decoverse. Now, Aubrey, even though I said I have maple brown sugar checks, I fell in love with this cereal this week. I'm obsessed with it. I had some before we went on air, but earlier in the week, I did a taste test on air of the new churro flavor cream Oreos. And I asked the question, will it cereal? And I told our fans to watch this morning and find out. Now, I'm just going to give you a heads up. This might be the best cookie ever made. Have you ever had a churro? It tastes just like a churro. It's amazing.
Okay, well, I don't hate when we don't agree. I don't like churros.
Oh, that's right, because you don't like cinnamon. I forget. You can't have cinnamon. Well, so I'm going to break up some of these and put them in the bowl and see see if it cereals well. Now, I know the answer already. Not because I've already tried it, but because I'm just really good at doing this. This is going to rock my socks off. So I've got the cookie broken up here, and in my Tony the Tiger bowl, I'm going to put a little bit of milk, and it's got to penetrate that cookie. So I got to give it a minute. So we're going to let it kind of soak in there just a little bit. But here we go. Will churro flavor cream Oreos cereal? Oh my God. Will it cereal? Yes. Oh my gosh. This is the best cereal I've ever had. It's not even cereal. Oh, I don't even know how to begin to describe these cookies. They're euphoric. That's the nice word to use. I could use another word, but I'm going to go with euphoric. Mind blown. Amazing. We've got audience comments. Some are going to be commenting about the Ghostbusters early on. Now, here we've got Zentron. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're going to be talking about the Ghostbusters cartoon series, both of them from 1986. And so you guys can join us in the chat, like Zentron, who says, "Good morning, fellow cereal boxers." And Zentron says, typing at you live from Yes, and my computer still working on my She-Ra redraw. So he's doing a redraw of one of She-Ra's complete episodes. It's pretty epic. And we've both got mouths full of cereal. Now, apparently,
if you're watching live, if you're listening,
yeah,
the blueberry cereal is good.
Yeah, apparently because you're eating all of it.
Also, I'm very hungry. I don't know about anybody else who's a late night snacker. I try really hard not to. But right around this time, when everybody's getting Twitter pated, I'm getting snacky. I go on the hunt for new restaurants and new snacks, and that's exactly what we're talking about this morning.
Yeah,
with
you
these
guys.
Cookies and Johnny.
Oh my God. So, churro flavor Oreo cream, unbelievable.
Okay, we were going to get to comments. Hi, Zentron. How are you doing this morning?
Willow Schuyler is joining us on the bus ride to work on YouTube. She says, good morning, everyone. And yeah, she's coming to you from the Starbucks near my work. And Zentron says, parents and I were supposed to be traveling to Wet Wang today, but the mother tested positive for COVID-19, so trip canceled.
Oh, no.
And Willow says, that sucks,
Sorry about
Zentron.
that.
COVID-19, so trip canceled.
No.
Oh, what just
Sorry about
happened?
that. So I have my phone. Sorry, guys. So T-Mobile updated my phone, and I didn't know how many updates. So for the not updated your phone to drink water today. Check both. I did not realize that I had this many updates. So when my texts were going through for almost 3 days, I thought I would go get my phone checked out. And meanwhile, the girl goes, you got a bunch of updates, right? And I look down and she goes, you have a lot of updates. And I went, so old, new, gens, all in between, remember to update. I forgot to. And so now I can't turn the volume down on my phone. I still haven't figured out how to silence it without just doing other stuff. So
that's funny. That's funny.
Technical error.
Dave Mattingly says, who you gonna call? Cereal Busters. And so Zentron says, I'm fine. It's my mother who is not feeling well, and thanks for the support. Marisa Henderson is joining us this morning. Good morning. Hi, Aubrey.
Good morning. That is our resident crocheter.
That's fantastic. Andrew Milden says, good morning, all. And Dave Mattingly caught the theme. He says, very ghostly thematic for today. So we're talking about Ghostbusters. So Aubrey got Booberry with the ghost, and she's doing her best Janine cosplay.
Ghostbusters in the house.
Ghostbusters, what do you want? And Andrew Milden says, Booberry Ghostbusters matchup. Yeah, take my money. Why has that not happened?
It really should.
Frankenberry was always my favorite cereal. So, Dave, when I was a kid, I liked Frankenberry a lot. But have you had it recently? Because it really just tastes like strawberry flavored cardboard.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So, Zentron says, Jammy Dodger, best biscuit ever. See,
Zentron, I want one so bad.
In England, they call cookies biscuits. And I've never heard of a Jammy Dodger.
Oh, I have. And I want a real one day. Not just the stuff we can get here in America.
Tabby Cat says, good morning, box top peeps. Good morning. And Chris Vaglio is joining us. Good morning. I'm here with my Eclipse glasses on and proton pack all charged and ready to go. Well, that is fantastic. I'm excited all of you are here. Continue to comment because we've got a lot to say about the Ghostbusters. And it's going to shock some of you. But before we even get to the main topic, the best part of Saturday mornings growing up, after you sit down for cartoons, you're going to dig into the box to pull out the prizes from the cereal box. This is also known as Andrew Milden's favorite segment, New Loot. And Aubrey, I don't know if you know this, but this weekend, tonight and tomorrow, is WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 40. I know you're not into wrestling, are you? Are you? This is
Okay.
no.
I was on
yes.
And I Quote last night, and I heard all about it. But keep going.
Yeah, WrestleMania 40. This is the big one, the biggest of the big since the very first one. And so, in honor of WrestleMania 40, I brought the GOAT. This is my Hulk Hogan WWE Superstars NWO Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And, you know, I've not opened it because I love the packaging so much. I'm debating opening it, but this is from Mattel, and Mattel did a mashup series of WWE and Masters of the Universe. And so this is another line where they use those Masters of the Universe figure molds to create the WWE superstars. And I got to tell you, the face sculpt on this Hulk Hogan is the best I've ever seen.
It's pretty good.
Excuse me, I'm going to die for a minute.
And this is how live goes, guys. This is how live goes.
Well, allergies are killing me. Anyway, yes, they got his smirk perfect. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I want to open it up. I'm going to open it up right now. So all the collectors are going to collectively lose their mind. Look.
What? No. What? Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I forgot you do that for just a second.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
you know what?
What's
I haven't had enough coffee.
Well, look, it was $3.99 at Ollie's. It was on clearance at Ollie's. But
nice.
You know what? They have him like rubber banded in here, so I can't actually take him out. But his, t-shirt is cloth and it comes off, so you can do the whole Hulk Hogan ripping the t-shirt off, and he's got the NWO title belt. But I've got to cut those rubber bands off to get him out of the vacuum mold. Oh, and his bandana comes off. And his glasses come off too. I can't believe that. He looks so good. I'm so excited about that. So he's going to go on my Hulk Hogan shelf in the Sanctum Sanctorum. So, but Aubrey, you have something special in the box.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm going to tell on you, Johnny.
Uh-oh.
So I pulled this out earlier, guys, and Johnny was like, wait, bring that back. And I'm like, no, not until later. Because, not thanks to Booberry, but thanks to my silly nature of just a habit of wanting to grab old things because I like and respect old things. I found this and I was thinking of Godzilla and King Kong and how, yes, though Godzilla is amazing and I am a huge fan now, thanks to Johnny, I won't lie, and the research we have done, some things I do like that Johnny likes, but King Kong was like in my heart first, okay? I remember the black and white King Kong, like climbing I was that kid, okay, who's like, okay, I'm not too bored about this. So when I saw this, I was like, I gotta get it. So voila.
Where creatures roam, and this is way old. So
Yeah.
this is for Marvel
Beautiful.
Comics. Is the price point on that 15 cents?
It
Yes.
was when it was originally put out, it was 15 cents.
So, Aubrey, do you know the background on this?
I do not.
So, before this would have been in the 50s.
So this is
Um
gonna maybe drive
or
some
early
people crazy also, but I want to open it.
no, go ahead. 50s, early 60s, before the Fantastic Four, Marvel published mostly monster comics. Big stompy monsters. The brute that
Oh,
walks, the and was is this Gorgilla? That one of them was called Gorgilla, had Fing Fang Foom, had just all these great old monster comics from Marvel, and um, just some
okay.
fantastic
So
storytelling.
you know how I feel about the advertisements. So Where the
Hmm.
Creatures Roam is published by Magazine Management Company, Office Publication Management. Okay, 1970.
Oh,
This is
really?
this is 1970. So
I didn't know that Marvel was
ooh,
still doing monster comics in 1970, but the Charles Atlas bodybuilding kit.
this is amazing.
I love that.
This is you want to talk about body image issues, guys. Okay, it goes far beyond, women's corsets. Come on, it's both sides of the aisle here. Look at that.
You know what? I'm wondering, somebody out there who can do the research on air, tell us if this is a reprint, because I didn't think Marvel was still doing new monster mags in the
It's not.
70s.
This is not a reprint. I don't see how this is a reprint, guys. Look at
Well,
that.
it could be.
This it mm, I don't know, man.
Cuz cuz
Smells.
because the comic publishers did that a lot, Aubrey,
Yeah.
especially during hard times. They would just go back and they would reprint earlier stuff. I love that. That looks like Jack Kirby artwork.
Look right there on the bottom, man.
Wait, what?
I can't
Continue
make it
down to the
out.
next page, but that's either Herb Trump or Jack Kirby.
I can't make it out.
Anyway, wow.
Buyers?
I don't know.
Harry?
I don't.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. This is I don't know. I don't look at the time.
Yeah, no, it's from 1970. I'm curious if it was originally issued in the 50s or 60s and then reprinted in 1970. Just anyway, because they do that from time to time. Even today, they'll reprint um those old original monster books as the facsimiles, and they did a whole series a couple of years ago on the Marvel monsters. I love it. Don't be fat.
These are amazing, guys. These are the old. I mean, you could stare at one of these books a million times
Yeah,
almost and
I
still
love it.
miss
I love
some
it.
of the detail.
I love it.
So one of these days I am interested in doing
Uh-oh, Aubrey froze on us. We got some finish high school at home. That's fantastic.
that's the back cover right there.
Yep, that's fantastic. Speaking of back covers, Aubrey, I forgot to ask you, she bumped her mic. I forgot to ask you to show the back of that Blueberry cereal box,
Oh,
because we
well,
are the back of the cereal box.
yes, we did show it well that the last time I used it though.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
a
and this
fun
is
little adventure.
the comic book origin of Carmela Creeper.
Hmm.
See, I love that when they had comics on the back. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. speaking of Serial, so Zentron says Serial Geek TV has some really good Ghostbusters documentary videos you might like to check out. We've checked them out, Zentron. We've been doing some homework this week, and we're going to get right into that in just a minute after these comments. Chris Vaglio says ready for WrestleMania 40, and he loves the NWO Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Chris, I'm really hoping that Hollywood makes an appearance at WrestleMania 40. I can't imagine that they wouldn't bring him back. He was at the first. He has more WrestleMania wins than anybody else. I can't imagine that he's not going to be there this weekend. Anyway, and he says, gasp at me opening it.
Sacrilegious.
Hold on.
Johnny is dying for a moment.
Yeah, I gotta put it on mute. See, talking this morning is loosening all that phlegm. It's actually going to be good for me in the end, but this morning it does not make for good podcasting. Johnny does not give good pod. Willow says, look away now. He's about to open the package. About to. It been done. And Chris Vaglio says, I can't watch Willow. No. Yeah, I open my figures. I think figures deserve to be, they're made to be played with. They need to be come out of the package. They need to be freed. Free roam figures. That's what I believe in. And Zentron says, does the beard come off though? No, it does not. It does not.
Would that it could.
But you know what? They do have a piece of elastic around his chin. Why?
Maybe it does come off.
No, it doesn't. It's painted on. But
that is weird then.
The glasses come off. I love it. I love that. This is my favorite Hulk Hogan figure. I've got a bunch of them. This is my favorite one. I love it. And let's see. Aubrey's audio, says Chris Vaglio, sounds on point today.
Thank you, Chris.
Ta-da! And Tabby Cat says Booberry Black.
Won't make you eat any.
Okay, so Zentron says my loot for today was all 4 of the She-Ra Princess of Power world books, or mini world books. So were these published by Golden Books, Zentron? You know what I'm talking about? They had the gold, the gold foil along the spine. Is that what we're talking about? Because they've started reissuing those. And they're available at some dollar stores like Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. I've not seen them yet, but I've seen people post about them. Tabby Cat says that paper, I don't think that's a reprint, dude. No. You misunderstood. It's from the 70s, but I think it's a reprint that was reprinted in the 70s from a book that was originally released in the late 50s and early 60s. That's what I mean by a reprint.
So that's cool, though. But yes, that is one of my oldest comics so far.
And speaking of Hulk Hogan showing up at WrestleMania, he says, I think there's going to be a lot of surprise guests. Yeah, so one of the theories is that Cody Rhodes is assembling the WWE Avengers to deal with the bloodline, Roman Reigns and the bloodline. And Tabby Cat says, drink some water, Johnny. I don't have any water near me. I have almond milk, which is mostly water.
Not the same thing.
No, it's not. No, it is not. All right. It is time for us to get to our main topic. Saturday morning 102. And Aubrey, there's a case to be made that this series should have been part of Saturday Morning 101.
Hmm.
Um, because the Real Ghostbusters was such a massive hit in 1986. And the whole point of this series is Saturday Mornings 102 is to introduce our audience to some more obscure series that maybe they don't remember but were essential series. And by the way, this segment is brought to you by Entertainment Earth. Click the link in our show description and get all of your action figure and collectible needs. But I forgot about the Real Ghostbusters when we were doing Saturday Morning 101 because I wasn't a fan of it back in the day.
Don't
So,
mind that it's on this series because I don't remember it. I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't remember even hearing about this. I don't know what was going on in my little world as a kid, but I don't remember it at all.
well, and that's okay because we're actually talking about both series and a lot of people, and I'm guaranteeing you learned something new, Aubrey. I'm willing to bet that you were not even aware that the 1984 movie starring Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and uh, everybody else. I'm having a brain cramp this morning. Um, that 1984 movie, the Ghostbusters title was licensed from Filmation, who did a series on Saturday mornings in 1975. This was the original Ghostbusters.
No, I had no idea.
Yes. And I watched some of these episodes this week. I was very aware of this. It's been on my radar for years. I've watched previous episodes. Um, and it was a Saturday morning live action cartoon. And in 1984, Columbia Pictures licensed the name Ghostbusters from Filmation for the film. They bought the name, they licensed the name for $680,000. And then it was a massive hit. Ghostbusters is still the highest grossing comedy of all time. And it is one of my top 10 favorite movies. And it was such a massive hit that Columbia Filmation came to Columbia and said, "Hey, let's do an animated series for Saturday mornings based on the movie." And apparently Filmation wanted too much money to do it. So instead, the animated series The Real Ghostbusters went to DIC. And it was a big hit in 1986, but Filmation was not happy to just let this IP go. So they created their own animated series, Filmation's Ghostbusters. And Filmation's Ghostbusters is a 1986 American animated television series created by Filmation and distributed by Tribune Entertainment, serving as a sequel to Filmation's 1975 live action show, The Ghostbusters. And it is not to be confused with the 1984 film Ghostbuster or that film's subsequent animated series, The Real Ghostbusters, which premiered 5 days later. So Filmation actually beat DIC to the market. When making their film, Columbia Pictures needed to obtain the rights to use the name from Filmation. And I already covered all of that. Huge success. So a lot of people don't remember this Filmation series, which was a true legacy series. Because in the 1975 series, you had I'm Spencer, he's Tracy, I'm Kong. Spencer was played by Larry Storch with the broad brim fedora and zoot suit. Spencer. Tracy was the gorilla. So you had Spencer, Tracy, um, and then the older guy is Kong, not the gorilla. The
Yep.
guy is Kong,
Yep.
and
Which I love.
yeah. And if you guys don't know, the homage to Spencer Tracy was the love of Katharine Hepburn's life. Oh, Spencer and I just had such a fabulous love affair. Um, and the original or the Filmation Ghostbusters was a direct sequel to the 1975 series. So here you see Spencer in the back. Um, this is Eddie's father. Eddie is the son of uh, Eddie Spencer. So Eddie Spencer Jr. And you had Jake Kong. Jake Kong was strangely, he's the matinee idol, blonde-haired, blue-eyed leader of the team. And Tracy, the original gorilla, is in this show. And strangely enough, Tracy is the tech wizard. He is the genius of the group. And they drive this old jalopy, and that emblem on the front with the ghost face, that ghost was sentient. The car was sentient and could talk and could,
It's GB. His name is Ghost Buggy, aka GB.
yeah.
He's got a southern accent.
And I love everything about this. Now the Filmation Ghostbusters mainly fought this guy, Prime Evil, and his horde of villains. And they were not really ghosts, they were mostly supernatural beings, vampires and zombies and skeletons. There may have been one or two legit ghosts, but I mean, they were monsters and mythical creatures. Here you have in the center the werewolf, and they had very much like you know Columbia Pictures 1984 Ghostbusters. They had devices that would suck the aliens or the enemies into a portal. They didn't have like a trap or like a storage facility. They would just zap them with their gear and they would be sucked into the portal and
I just
be
love
gone.
that he has an off-brand Morticia in Mysteria. She really is just like
Well, there's like two of
right
them.
down to calling people darling.
It's like off-brand Morticia and Elvira.
Yes, Apparata.
Yeah,
Apparatia, I think. A spirit sorceress supreme, a vampish sorceress who talks like Mae West. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And here's some of the toys. I really want this ghost buggy.
Oh, and we were talking earlier also about put the ghost buggy back there for
Okay.
just 1 second. Okay, so that's the voice of Pat Fraley. So we're
Okay.
talking about Pat Fraley, and he is a voice actor, and he is the voice of GB, that Southern voice that you hear. That gentleman became a voice teacher later on.
Okay. And some of the other voice cast was Peter Cullen, Autobots roll out.
Yeah.
The producer Lou Scheimer,
Yep,
Linda
we had
Gray,
Linda Gary also.
Susan Blue, Alan Oppenheimer, Erica Scheimer, wife of Lou Scheimer. And Lou Scheimer is the guy who produced all of the Filmation stuff. He was the head guy in charge, the big cheese in charge. Now, Aubrey, I don't remember any of these toys when I was a kid.
Really?
I don't
I
remember ever seeing them. And now it's all I want out of life. And of course, First Comics did an adaptation, a comic book adaptation of Filmation's Ghostbusters. Now, I got to tell you, I'm going to shock a lot of people because when we were doing the research for this show, I watched several of these episodes, and they're kind of silly. They're very campy. A lot of slapstick humor, but I found them very charming, and I found the characters very relatable. Now, here's the one thing that bothered the fire out of me. We've talked about it before, where animated shows use this transformational sequence to fill time. Why did Eddie and Kong need to go through this tunnel and be stripped down to their underwear and then on this conveyor belt, to because that didn't give them any kind of special powers or abilities. It
Because they
just put
wanted them to transform.
that look, that was a little bit spicy, because I gotta tell you,
It was
when
a little spicy.
when Kong Jr. um he gets his clothes stripped off of him, and he's like super happy about it. And you know, uh Eddie, he's like all shy. He's like covering himself up. I mean,
Hey,
look,
hey, it's okay to be proud, and it's okay to be like the rest of us and be like, so no.
yeah, I just Jake Kong and Eddie Spencer were very relatable to me. And I loved that they had some ancillary characters that joined them. Um there's a girl named Jessica. Do I have a picture of her? And another girl named Futara. There's Futara, a girl from the future. Um and they were headquartered in a haunted mansion called Ghost Command, which was nestled in between a number of tall skyscrapers, which resembled the World Trade Center's Twin Towers in New York City. And so they've got the supporting characters, including Ansabone, a talking skull phone,
Nice.
Skelevision, a talking skeleton television, Belfry, a pink talking bat, and of
Yes.
course, Ghost Buggy Jr., their talking car. They occasionally enlist the aid of Futara, a time traveling Ghostbuster from the future, and Jessica Ray, a local TV news reporter. And
Yes, Futara, 30th century technology instead of magic. She's got a time hopper motorcycle. I mean, that is a cool chick.
yeah, yeah, I loved everything about this, because you had the retro, you had the future, you had um the diesel punk steampunk aesthetics with the futuristic cyberpunk. You had anthropomorphic cars and talking animals, and
I mean, I wouldn't even call it Ghostbusters anymore. I'm just not gonna lie. Like, it's a different world. It's totally different. You can't, can you compare them? Sure. Like, you can compare apples and oranges. They're both fruit, you know? But it's, in my opinion, when it comes right down to it, and I know I'm jumping the gun towards the end here, but I, these bad guys,
they weren't ghosts.
they weren't ghosts, and but they were amazing characters. um I just don't see them as Ghostbusters. I see them as more like the Scooby Gang, to be quite honest with you. But
So
they're,
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
that's my definition.
Except these monsters and demons and wizards were real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't some unmask the guy who wants to make money off of plowing down a bunch of property and getting old folks and orphans out of there so that he can, turn it into a big mall or whatever, something. Oh, you're foiled again. No, no, it's just they're really real. They're really gonna mess up your day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I loved the Filmation Ghostbusters series, but side by side, launched 5 days later, was the Real Ghostbusters.
Hmm.
Real Ghostbusters. Okay.
Real.
I'm frustrated a little bit that Oh, wait, what just happened here? My notes just vanished. I'm a little bit frustrated that Columbia Pictures and DIC were able to use the phrase "real Ghostbusters" because they're not really the real Ghostbusters. They're the new Ghostbusters. But can I tell you something, Aubrey? And this is going to be
Okay.
controversial to our audience.
Okay.
When we were researching and I started watching these episodes from DIC, I realized that I really am not a Ghostbusters fan.
What?
I am a fan of the 1984 movie, which was perfect. I could watch that movie over and over and over again. But the rest of the franchise, I'm just not into. And part of the reason is this show, The Real Ghostbusters, was supposed to be a direct sequel to the 1984 movie. But for me, they took such liberties with the characters that they were almost unrecognizable.
Okay. Yeah, I agree a little bit.
Like Peter Venkman, that was a pretty good iteration.
Yes. Yes, he was
Now,
who he was, very nonchalant.
yeah. Now here's the tale of the tape. The Real Ghostbusters is a spin-off sequel of the 1984 comedy film Ghostbusters, and the series ran from 1986 to 1991, whereas Filmation's Ghostbusters only ran 2 seasons. So this was hugely popular. Um, and it was produced by Columbia Pictures Television and DIC Enterprises and distributed by Coca-Cola Communications.
Of course.
Coca-Cola was, yeah. Now, some familiar voices in the cast. Frank Welker, who did the voice
Yeah.
of Freddy. Arsenio Hall.
I know. I was going to say Arsenio.
Dave Coulier did the voice of Ray Stentz. Buster Jones.
Right?
Jeff Altman. I don't know what character Jeff Altman played, but he is one of my all-time favorite comedians. And Jeff Altman was also in the Dukes of Hazzard. When we were at the Dukes of Hazzard reunion convention in Gallatin, he was there, and I walked up to him, and I didn't know him from Dukes of Hazzard. I knew him from being on stages with him when he was doing stand-up. And I did one of his old bits to him. I was like, I'm going to flip you like a cheese omelet. And he's like, oh my God. He flipped out that
What was his name again?
Jeff Altman.
I feel like I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah. And
I'm looking up his face right now. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the police. He took the place of either Enos or Roscoe Coltrane. I can't remember. But I knew him from stand-up comedy and did a couple of gigs with him when I was trying to break in. So he was thrilled that I remembered that. But Dave Coulier, do you know who that is? He was Uncle Joey on Full House.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
One of my favorite actors. Yeah.
Yeah. He played Ray Stentz. Now, here's my problem, okay?
Okay. Wait. What's your problem with this?
Okay.
I was like, this is my favorite part about the show. Hold on.
So we got Venkman in the brown. He was very much in line with Bill Murray. Very, nonchalant, very kind of, he wasn't as funny as he could be. And then to his right, to his left, our right, we've got Egon Spengler in the blue and pink.
Yeah.
And what's with the new wave 90s hairdo? And when did he go blonde? He was not blonde in the movie.
Yeah.
And he looks really cool, but the voice actor who did him played him so stale and so almost monotone. He's like, we've got a PK4 seismic event. And Dave Coulier played Ray Stentz in the beige and did not play him at all like Arsenio Hall. or not Arsenio Hall, like Dan Aykroyd. He
Yeah,
he you know he played him as like this goofy kid, almost like,
like too goofy. Yeah,
yeah, he was just
just a
really
little bit.
goofy and hey, guys, we got to go bust some ghosts. And and he's a redhead. Wait, what? When did that happen? And then I always pictured Winston as the muscle of the team. I always wanted
Mm.
him to be like the strong, um, the strong take action kind of guy. And in this, he's he's like a slapstick clown. There's one time he's like doing a whole
I agree with
Groucho
the
Marx thing.
I agree with the take action kind of guy. He was Winston always seemed like the take action kind of hero, but there were some one-liners he had in the movie, the live
But
action. So maybe they were trying to translate it and they lost that in
I think they did
translation a
because
little bit. But you
because
were asking a question about Jeff Altman
yes,
and the voice he played in the show. I found it. He played Professor Norman Dweeb.
that's a good part for Jeff Altman. He is kind of a dweeb. I love him, but I love you, Jeff, if you're watching.
Professor Norman Dweeb. Hats off to you. That is. I think you'll be the first person ever to be called Professor Dweeb. So
Now,
it's great.
here's the one thing that made zero sense to me.
Okay.
Along with the Ghostbusters, Slimer was part of the team,
I
a
hated
ghost.
that part. I'm not gonna lie. I really hated that part.
I know why they put him in there to appeal to kids, but
The
he was just so freaking annoying.
the whole
He,
reason why that outfit change right there with the pink and the hair, it
uh-huh.
was all for the kids. It was all trying to bring the kids in, and I get that. But I think they were looking for the movie version. E- I was,
And
you
that's
know,
probably why I didn't watch this because I would have been 16. Um,
yeah.
but I loved the movie. And if I had tuned into this on a Saturday morning, and look, at 16, I was already working professionally in theater. And so I probably wasn't as, I mean, most
You weren't
16
the
years.
you weren't
I
the best example of who would be watching this
Right,
anyway,
right.
Johnny.
Well, look, I still watch Saturday morning cartoons even today. I mean, I never stopped.
With
But
quite an artist's eye, though, right?
yes, and I got more particular as I got older. I got very particular, and if I tuned into this and seen how drastically different the characters were from the movie, I was immediately turned off. Now, I did like that Janine became an actual member of the Ghostbusters team down the road. She suited up with a proton pack, and we just saw that in the new movie, The Frozen Empire. She suited up with a wrist blaster, kind of like Holtzman used in the 2016 movie. And Marvel did an adaptation of the comic series, but here's where this gets wild. Marvel published it, and then a few years later, Now Comics republished it, the exact same book, but they licensed it from Marvel and republished it. And Now Comics was one of those comic book companies that was their thing. They were licensed IP company. Um, so they had Green Hornet, they had I'm trying to think what else they had. Terminator, they had Predator. Now Comics was an IP licensing publishing company. But then IDW picked up the license, and IDW is still publishing Ghostbusters comics. They're well into the hundreds. Now, the toys were very, very popular. Unlike Filmation's Ghostbusters, which I never ever saw the toys, these Real Ghostbuster animated figures were everywhere.
I want that Stay Puff. Oh my god! If somebody can find that Stay Puff, please. All right. There's not many toys I want to own. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of toy fans, and I own more comics, but I want that Stay Puff.
And then this was a Toys R Us exclusive 4-pack. And this must have come out like right at the tail end of Toys R Us here in America, because they only started doing those only at Toys R Us exclusives um like right in the last 2 or 3 years of their existence. So this is a relatively new set. And then 5 years ago, NECA did a uh very up to date Spengler and Winston, kind of like the Marvel Legends, and I don't have a picture of that, but
Okay, wait, Johnny, go back once again. Okay, for
here.
those of us that are watching, I'm just gonna say, I really wish we had a more clear picture of these, because correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like they mixed the Real Ghostbusters cartoon with the actual actors' faces.
Oh,
Like a lot closer in
you know what?
resemblance.
That's what it looks like on Spengler to me. Egon looks, you know what? You might be right.
It looks a little creepy. Oh my, I'm
Getting close
wow.
to the unknown valley, uncanny valley kind of thing.
Oh, I don't.
So I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I did not like the Real Ghostbusters. The animation was so choppy, the art style was so simplistic, the scripts to me were just awful. I watched 3 episodes. It was all I could take.
Oh, you could only make it through three?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes. And our good friend Cade Hawkins agreed with me. He couldn't take it.
I watched Cade's take on it. I will say that. Um, it's understandable. I respect the opinions. I actually wish I had seen both of them. I actually wish I had seen both series, because though the Ghostbusters animated series that followed the 1970s, I really do like, even because the characters are just too fun to not like.
The yeah,
It's well written. It's very interesting, even though it's not the ghosts I'm looking for. It's not the cast I'm looking for. When I think Ghostbusters, so I respect what they say, real Ghostbusters. When I'm thinking of, if Bankman's not present, and we don't have that ghost mobile, and there's no headquarters, I'm not in for it. But I do love this other Ghostbusters, and it has opened me up to a new series that, I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing series. It really is. The villains and the good guys. There is
and
multiple characters, male and female.
and look, it doesn't get any better than a super scientist gorilla named Tracy.
And a
And
talking buggy.
and
A southern talking buggy. Come on, y'all.
here's what I really love about this. It was a true handoff series. It was a true sequel to the 75 live action series.
It
And
was.
and you had these original characters showing up in animated form, and this is going to be a hot take. The Filmation Ghostbusters was what the 2016 Ghostbusters Answer the Call movie should have been for the 1984 movie. You had an all-woman cast. It should have been a handoff movie. It should have been a legacy film, not a complete reimagining from scratch. And if they had done a true handoff generation to generation like they did in this animated series, I think fans would have loved the 2016 Ghostbusters, because it's really good. It's really good. But fans rejected it because it was not a handoff, it was a reimagining. But we've got some comments. We've stirred up the hornet's nest on
Oh.
these.
Oh.
So
Oh.
let's see what we got here. So Andrew Milden chimes in first. He says, again, these shows I thought were a fever dream. I remember watching all of the shows on Saturday and after school, but he wasn't sure that they were real. Vague memory. Now you know. And look, Andrew, I'm going to recommend you go back and watch Filmation's Ghostbusters. I would love to know what you think about it as an adult, because I think it holds up really well. Zentron says probably being caused by high winds going on outside. I've been getting some stream feed drops. So he's been talking about your freezing on the internet on your end, Aubrey.
Yes.
It's
I don't know what's going on, but it's been happening since yesterday.
yeah, it's just Wi-Fi, Comcast. All right. Willow chimes in and she says, I do have a vague memory of the Ghostbusters cartoon, but I was very young when it came out. So 1986. How old were you, Aubrey?
I was 6 years old.
Okay. So you probably might have, and you and Willow are the same age. So you probably might have watched this, but at that young age, you don't remember a lot of it.
It was probably the fever dream part. Yeah, it was
Yep.
probably maybe the audio. The audio sounded familiar, but I do not remember watching any of the episodes.
Well, to their credit, the Real Ghostbusters did use the original theme song. Da 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 da. What from the movie? The Ray Stevens. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. You know what? I tried to do that song in a talent show in high school. It was a disaster.
Oh no.
Oh, it was a disaster. Because here's LL Whitebread trying to sing it like Ray Parker Jr. If it's something strange in the neighborhood. And I just had a piano accompanist. It was not good. It was bad. But I did it and I got a story out of it. And that's all that matters.
And that's all that matters.
Zentron says Futura was the best character, though.
Ooh.
I don't know that that's a hot take because there are a lot of people online who agree that some people wanted to see a spin-off series just with her.
Okay. So there was a whole thing between Jessica Rae and Jake.
Yeah.
And I think Futara also.
Little love triangle there.
A little. Yeah, I think she had a mentioned a few times about him, but I thought that was cool. They had a and that was Susan Blue was the voice of her, and she had a crush on him. There was a little thing between Jessica Rae and Jake.
Yeah,
they had it together apparently.
Well, and I will say, they did not on both of these series. They did not make any bones or hide the attraction between characters. Like in the Real Ghostbusters, it was very obvious that Janine was into Egon, but Ray Spengler, no. Why can I not remember his name? Bill Murray's character. He had the hots for Janine. Do you know what I'm talking about, Aubrey?
Yeah, really? I always thought it was just Egon and Janine.
No. There in that first episode, he comes in. He's like, "Hey, how's the hottest receptionist on the planet?" And she like just completely blows him off. And Venkman, oh my God, thank you, Venkman. Venkman had the hots for Janine, but Janine was having none of it. She was totally into Egon.
I feel like Venkman had the hots for her, but in the cartoon.
Yeah, in the cartoon, not in the movie. Okay. In the movie, he didn't like her at all.
Yeah,
because you remember he said, "Stop looking at me with those bug eyes." But in the cartoon, he's like, "Yeah."
It's like bug eyes.
And then the phone rings. Ghostbusters, what do you want? Because he's like, I'll be in my office if you need me. And stop looking at me with those bug eyes. You creep me out.
That line never got out of my head.
Once again, we've broken Aubrey. And let's see. Okay, so Zentron adds, It didn't make sense, but the background art for the outfit transformation sequence was amazingly good. It just bothers me when these shows do that transformational sequence to fill time. And it made no sense for this
You
series.
don't need a filler.
No,
Why did they need a filler?
all they needed to do was go to the closet and put on their jackets and hats and whatever.
Or do the little blink where they're not in it 1 second and they are an X. We don't care
Yeah.
how you get dressed. We don't need that for animators out there. That's a waste of ink and time and clicks and whatever it takes to make it.
But Rick Kong Jr., he was an exhibitionist. He was proud of his boxers. Jake, I said Rick. His name is Jake.
I know.
Rabbit's Garage says Aubrey took the words out of my mouth. Definitely got the Mystery Inc. feel, and I think that's a good thing. I think having that Mystery Inc. feel is one of the good things.
Oh, I promised something that when Rabbit showed up, I'd throw something on. Give me 1 second.
Okay. I'm going to throw up this other comment. Zentron says, and Ernie Hudson wanted to voice Winston in the show, but alas, was it Arsenio Hall who did Winston? Because again, I didn't like it. You know what's funny about this, Aubrey, is the actors in Ghostbusters in the movie, even though it was a huge smash success, they didn't do a whole lot else after this, after that show, after that movie. They could have come and done the voicing on the series. So what do you got on your head? Did Rabbit's Garage make that for you?
No. Taking it back to geek things, I would tip my hat to Rabbit the next time he was on to say hi, as he's helping bring other viewers in occasionally. Also, I was popping this on to remind people that it is convention season, and randomly, I know, it was Easter, and I did give out some candy at the local convention. Make sure when you're at the convention, you're keeping safe and hydrated. And remember us, because we will still be here Saturday mornings.
Ta-da! Love it. Love it. All right. Willow says, Dave Coulier being the guy that broke Alanis Morissette seems way too strange for me. I still haven't had the nerve to look up the real story of their relationship.
What? I was trying not to bring that up because one of my favorite actors, bygones be bygones,
I guess I don't know.
He's a funny guy. I like funny guys.
Little piece of trivia. So in 1990, I was on Star Search. I competed in the male vocalist competition.
What?
Yeah.
I keep finding new things out about you, Johnny.
I've lived multiple lifetimes. I didn't go forward, but I was there. And Alanis Morissette was on the show at the same time. She ended up winning the competition. So yeah, I met and knew
you were
Alanis
on
Morissette.
Star Search with Alanis Morissette.
Yep, and Ed McMahon. It was, yeah. Anyway, that's the whole thing. That's a lifetime ago. It's almost 40 years ago now. Crazy. Well, no, not. I guess more like 30. Oh, 40. Almost 40 years ago. Anyway, Zentron says, I only have a vintage movie version, Ecto 1, but the plastic has become brittle. Oh my gosh, that is such a big problem for toys from the 70s and 80s. The plastic that they used was inferior, and when it's exposed to heat or cold, it becomes brittle and it crumbles. That's why there's so few of these toys from the 70s and 80s still around. But like from the 50s, 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you got the die cast metal, the tin, pressed tin toys,
Oh,
the
those are the
ba-
best, though.
the Bakelite plastic that lasts forever. And Willow says, I love collecting those figures. I'm guessing the Real Ghostbusters figures.
That's one of the reasons I was hoping we'd see Willow so that we could see her in the jumpsuit.
Yeah, I when I originally decided to do this episode, it was to correspond with the release of Frozen Empire, which, by the way, I went and saw, and it is a movie that was made. Um, but I thought Willow would appreciate being on camera with her Ghostbuster stuff, but sadly,
I
she's got to be at
know.
work.
I was like, Janine and the Ghostbuster, but she's not here. We miss you, Willow.
And Rabbit's Garage said, I definitely had some of those toys. Now, Rabbit's Garage,
Oh.
did you have the Filmation Ghostbusters toys?
Yes. Which Ghostbusters
Yeah,
toys?
which Ghostbusters toys?
The
Because
real Ghostbusters?
I'm going to tell you right now, Aubrey, I am going to make it a mission to find these Filmation Ghostbuster action figures.
Okay, if anybody can find the Jessica, I want the Jessica Ray. I will cosplay Jessica Ray if somebody finds me that doll.
That's fantastic. I think actually I have a box of like old action figures that I was using to kit bash and do some customs. I think I may actually have Futara in a box, and I didn't know what she was or where she was from. So yeah, let us know what toys Rabbit's Garage.
Ooh.
And Zentron says, I did watch the Real Ghostbusters as a kid, but it's never been a show I've really ever sought out as a must have. And exactly. That's why I didn't include it as part of 101 and held it for 102. I feel like it's kind of obscure, but it's important to know about it to understand the Saturdays of my generation. And Rabbit's Garage says, agreed, Zentron. It was definitely a filler cartoon. Which, is funny because it lasted so long. 86 to 91 is a long time for animated series. Most cartoon series last one season or two at the most. So, it's interesting that it definitely had its fans. And Zentron says, instead of the 2016 movie, I would have preferred a live version of the Extreme Ghostbusters show. You know what? I never saw the Extreme Ghostbusters. I'll have to check that out. Okay. And Zentron adds, yes, Arsenio Hall voiced Winston and then Buster Jones. I didn't realize there were two different actors. And Rabbit's Garage, the Real Ghostbuster toys are what I had.
Oh, okay. That's
And
cool, though.
Zentron says, chances are when the car boot season starts up this month, I might find some of the Filmation Ghostbusters toys in a box sometime.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be awesome. Awesome. Tabby Cat says, Tracy looks too much like Donkey Kong. LOL. Okay, so
Inspiration, maybe?
well, so he was original with 1975. And then they reformatted him for the 86 show, but he's the same character, by the way. Same character. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, look, there's only so many different ways you can make a cartoon gorilla. So really, truthfully, he probably has more origins in Magilla Gorilla than Donkey Kong.
I feel like this is a cosplay opportunity for somebody who is neurodivergent and wants to dress like a monkey. You need a camera and a hat after that, and you're good. It's a good character. I want people to bring back more obscure characters and cosplay them, because unless you're one of those people that doesn't want to be asked what you're dressed as, and then if that's the case, then okay, I don't understand still. I'm trying to learn to understand, but that's like having a tattoo and telling people, you don't want to be asked what it is, or wearing a t-shirt and then not wanting to share what you're wearing. But I don't understand, but it's okay to be different, and I want to understand. So someone explained to me that one day. But yeah, I feel like this is a great thing. Bring back, when you see these random things, share them. When you see well, they're not random to us. When you see our subjects for Saturday morning, share them. I want to see more obscure characters at these conventions. I want to be like, oh, that's one of the old, yeah, I want to see these three guys.
I was at one point I was working on an Eddie cosplay.
Dude, I'm just saying, and the cool little weapons that they have, what are those called again, Johnny?
You know what? I don't remember that, but they were I'm looking to see if they even say what they were.
Somebody give us the name of those zappers. Some kind of ghost zapper, I suppose. Not a disintegrator. A disintegrator? Is that what it was? Something like that?
I guess.
But yeah, I want to see those three
the
guys.
weapons. Okay, the dematerializer.
Dematerializer. Okay, there we go.
The dematerializer was the Ghostbusters' main weapon. It shoots a beam that banishes ghosts to limbo, but does not always work. Dun,
what?
dun, dun.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. The warp dimension in the Real Ghostbusters, and then them possibly
See, I love this. They also had the Ghost Gummer. I'm coughing.
It's okay. It's an amazing cartoon. It's totally worth it. I want to see more of these characters out there. I would love to see a whole group of cosplayers be the villains, because I think they're amazing outfits.
All right.
And
so these are the weapons, Aubrey, that the Filmation Ghostbusters used, and these make so much sense. The dematerializer, then the Ghost Gummer shoots a glob of sticky pink substance to immobilize enemies. The Spectre Snare shoots a coiled rope to trap a ghost. How do you trap a ghost with a rope? The Bubble Blaster fires off a stream of soap-like bubbles that combine to form one large bubble to trap a ghost. The dematerializer net is an energized net that is stretched across the ghost buggy that causes ghosts to be banished to limbo as soon as they touch it. And the ghost packs, standard equipment packs Jake and Eddie carry with their Ghostbusters logo on it. They hold a number of devices as well as jetpacks. See,
this is an amazing troop.
And of course,
it's an amazing troop of
and the transformation chamber,
hunters.
A skeletal elevator normally located at Ghostbusters HQ, which Jake and Eddie used to change into their uniforms and equip themselves with their ghost packs. And they had their cry, "Let's go, Ghostbusters! Let's go!"
It's a totally different show. It's a totally I don't even want to compare them. I'm just not gonna lie. I don't want to compare them. It's a totally different cast.
You really can't. They're so different. They're so different. But you can imagine how confused people were in 1986, because you had two separate shows on two separate channels, both called the Ghostbusters, and one had a nominal resemblance to the movies, and the other was a completely different retro future type of Mystery Inc. kind of show.
It really was. It's so good though. It's worth it. It's worth it to watch. I'm just gonna say, I don't say that about everything. The Real Ghostbusters, if you're a hardcore Ghostbuster fan, of course you should watch every episode, because that way you know what they did in the other realm, the cartoon realm of that show, in that universe. But if you're not a huge State Puff Marshmallow, Ghostbuster Mobile fan like I am, you don't need to watch that one, but totally go watch the other one. Completely watch the other one. It's a different realm. It's a different thing.
We ask all the time, does it hold up? And I'm going to say the Real Ghostbusters, I don't think holds up real well. It looks very dated. And even though the Filmation series has that 80s, 86 kind of texture to it, and stylism that Filmation was known for, I think it holds up better than
It's
the real
dynamic.
Ghostbusters.
It's more dynamic. It reaches a bigger audience. The Ghostbuster cartoon, the Real Ghostbusters, is for real Ghostbuster lovers that are fanatics. Okay, but the other one's could be for everybody, anybody. Like
I love that.
anybody could find something to watch in that.
I love that. I love that. Well, it is coming up for time for us to take off. But before we finish up, we have to acknowledge our friends at Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
I love that. I love that. So I realize I have completely dropped the ball on this. If you love our show and you want to support us, patreon.com/serialboxpodcast. $1 gets you access to our Discord server, gets you access to exclusive live streams where you get to come on camera with us. And I think, Aubrey, I'm going to start making that option available on Saturday mornings as well for patrons, Patreon community members who want to join us on air on Saturday morning can have access to do so. I'm thinking about it. You guys let me know if that's something
Maybe
we should
like
do.
a pop-on cameo sounds like fun for maybe like a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all kinds of extras, but really it keeps us going. And we got some big stuff that we would love to do, and you can help us make that happen at patreon.com/serialboxpodcast. So Aubrey, last words about the Ghostbusters versus the Real Ghostbusters.
If you've never seen it, the Ghostbusters is worth a watch. If you're a Ghostbusters fanatic, the Real Ghostbusters is a must-see. Both of them were worth watching, in my opinion, just to have said I watched them.
So, hot take, I love Filmation's Ghostbusters. I absolutely could not stomach the Real Ghostbusters. For those of you listening, wondering why Johnny just dropped out suddenly, because I'm coughing and I got to put the mute button on.
Beautiful allergy season.
Yeah, after I'm going to go back to bed. I'm going to go get some rest. I'm going to go lay in the bed for the next 2 days and slip into a coma.
I will be on later today, by the way, with, and I quote, it's an anniversary of The Crow. So I will be in a completely different outfit again and dressing up in black makeup because The Crow. And I am a huge, I was that girl. I was that grunge girl. So,
Fantastic.
that one. I'm going to be so excited to see my friends today. I'm going to pop out for some little hanging out, and then I'm going to be live again tonight.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, everybody else in the listening lounge, in the virtual rec room, thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for contributing and making the show so much fun. Until the next time, if you love the show, make sure you tell 200-300 of your closest friends and family to come show the fun. And love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Ta-da!
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi's